And welcome to today's lesson. We are writing the final draft of a letter. So these are the things you're going to need. The first draft of the letter to Miss Belden. This is what we wrote last week. It was the first draft. Then you're also going to need a paper, a pencil. A pen will work, but I think a pencil is easier to use because you can always erase if you want to change something or if you make a mistake. And then a highlighter if you want. Okay, I'm so excited to start today's lesson with you. All right, so this is writing lesson 12. First, we are going to get the first draft of our letter we wrote last week. So go ahead and pause this video and go grab that letter if you don't already have it in front of you. All right, starting in 3, 2, 1. So here was my letter from last week. I'll read it to you to remind you what I was writing about. Dear Miss Belden, the best thing for Kip Valiant is for every class to have a dog. There are many reasons why this is a good idea. First, dogs are snuggly and students could cuddle the dog if they are sad. Next, dogs are happy and smart. They would love being at our school while we learn. Finally, dogs can take care of people. They could take care of us at recess and help us do things. As you can see, having dogs at Kip Valiant would be a great idea to make our school better. Thank you for reading my letter. Sincerely, Miss Peters. All right, so we wrote this letter. This was the first draft. Remember, we chose our ideas from the list we made of letters we could write. And so now we're going to start writing our final draft. The first thing I'm going to do before I start writing my final draft is I'm going to make a list of ideas of things I might want to add to my letter. So when you're writing a letter, sometimes the first time you write it, you don't always get all of the ideas onto the paper that you could think of. So I think it's sometimes really, really great if we can wait a little bit, like we've waited the past couple of days this weekend, and we can add those ideas now. So it says, now I'm going to think of some more ideas to put into my letter. So whatever you wrote your letter about, I want you to think of some more ideas why you want that thing to happen at Kip Valiant. What you think could make Kip Valiant better. What are some more reasons why that would make Kip Valiant better? So remember, my letter is all about every class having a dog. So your letter could be about anything. I read so many really creative letters. So whatever you put in your list, you're adding to the ideas for what you wrote your first letter about, okay? So now I'm going to make a list of ideas I want to add to my letter. Here are my ideas that I thought of. Dogs would help students learn to be more responsible. Students could take turns taking care of dogs, and students could take turns cleaning up after dogs. I think both those things would totally help students become responsible. So I want to make sure to write that in my letter to Miss Belden. And then another idea I thought of was some dogs that I think would be great are Labradors and Huskies. So I'm getting really specific with my details. Maybe you wrote about you want a swimming pool at Kip Valiant. What is a really specific type of swimming pool you want, right? So for me, I said Labradors are super smart and show curiosity, our school value. Because I know Miss Belden really loves our school values, just like all the teachers. And so I thought that she would want to hear about that. Huskies are smart and fluffy, and they are our school mascot. That's another reason why Huskies would be a great dog to have at Kip Valiant. And then it says, and my last idea was adding, thank you, Miss Belden, for reading my letter, just to make it even more personal. So now I'm going to show you what I did when I added those ideas and rewrote my letter. Because on our paper today, we're going to rewrite our letter and add in those ideas. So that doesn't mean I'm adding all of my ideas to the very, very end. When you see my letter, you're going to see that I added my ideas in the middle at different parts that made sense. So here's my letter. All of the parts that are yellow are the parts that I added from my list, okay? So I said, Dear Miss Belden, the best thing for Kit Valiant is for every class to have a dog. There are many reasons why this is a good idea. First, dogs are snuggly and students could cuddle the dog if they are sad. So that was already from from my first draft. But then I thought this would be a great place to add that I think Labradors and Huskies would be great. So I added that part. I said some dogs I think would be great to have at our school are Labradors and Huskies. Labradors are super smart and show curiosity, our school value. Huskies are smart and fluffy, and they are our school mascot. Then I kept this part in. Next, dogs are happy and smart. They would love being at our school while we learn. I thought this place was a great chance to add in dogs would help students learn to be more responsible. Because I already had said they would love being at our school while we learn. And the dogs are going to help students learn to be responsible. Because students can take turns taking care of dogs and cleaning up after dogs. Finally, dogs can take care of people. And I kept all that last part the same, but I added right here in my last sentence, I just added Miss Belden's name. Sometimes the things that we're going to add and change are just really, really small, just like this. Like instead of saying, thank you for reading my letter, I wanted to make it a little bit more personal because maybe that'll help Miss Belden change your mind or something. Thank you, Miss Belden, for reading my letter. Sincerely, Miss Peters. I kept the ending the same, but if you want to change to something else right here, you can. Okay, now it's time to write your letter on paper. So that's the first step. You're going to write your letter on paper, adding in those ideas you thought of. Actually, this is the second step. The first step is making that list, like we did up here, like I did up here, of the other ideas I want to add into my letter. Then, second step is to write your letter with those new ideas. When you are done writing the letter on the paper, there's two choices. Type your letter into Nearpod or record yourself reading the letter into Nearpod. And all of our teachers are going to have those options. If you want to, this is not something you have to do, but if you want to, you can send a picture of your letter to your teacher. Because I know that we would love to see the writing that you guys have been doing with your handwriting and with the final draft of the letter that you wrote and took so much time in. We've been working on this letter now for 2 weeks. That's awesome. I'd love to see that if you want to send me a picture. If you can't or if you don't want to, that's okay. But please still record or type the letter into Nearpod. And that's all for this lesson. Tomorrow we're going to work on how to address a letter. So how to write on the envelope of a letter so that it goes to where we want it to go. All right, that's all for today. I can't wait to read the final draft of your letter. You got this, second grade.